Simone.
This is Saritha.
And this is Clean Ears.
Yes.
We're talking to you guys about modesty.
Yes, we want to break it down.
We visited modesty in a previous podcast, but we wanted to just circle back and talk about it because it's a conversation that continues to evolve. And so we're rolling with that. Yeah. Is there a criteria for modesty? What does that look like? Is it something that's male or female? Is there such a thing as male modesty? Since the modesty conversation kind of seems to swing in our direction a bit, let's get to the meat of the issue.
Ooh,
let's do it.
Go for it.
So, I'm gonna give you guys a little script to go with it. Don't mind me. I'm gonna read because I don't know this one. Okay. 1 Timothy 2:9-10. Paul writes, I also want the women to dress modestly, with decency and propriety, adorning themselves not with elaborate hairstyles or gold or pearls or expensive. Oh my gosh, I'm
gold, pearls, expensive items,
but with good deeds appropriate for women who profess worship to God. The Greek word translated modesty here is kosmios, and it's derived from the words cosmos, which is the universe, and it signifies orderliness, self-control, and appropriateness. It appears actually only twice in the New Testament. And interestingly, its second usage refers specifically to men. Ooh. And you can refer to 1 Timothy 3:2 for that. And actually, nearly all of the Bible's instructions regarding modest clothing refer not to sexuality, but rather materialism.
Ooh. I think it's interesting because whenever we end up talking about modesty in the church, one, it's very much toward women.
Yeah.
And two, they don't talk about the materialism piece.
This is absolutely true.
They just talk about like hemlines and cleavage.
Yes, it's just you shouldn't be causing your brother to stumble. And it's a direct, you, ma'am.
Yes.
Should not be causing your brother to stumble. And then it's like the conversation ends there. So it feels like a lot of times there's shame assigned to women for the way that we dress. Even when we could have very innocently picked our clothes, or even picked our clothes with consideration.
Right. I think, again, it does end up shaming women about, especially women of certain body types, shapes. So they get to the point of where they're like, I can't wear anything, because it seems to always have a comment of, I'm causing someone to sin. And in reality, you can't cause someone to sin. They cause themselves to sin. You give in to sin. There can be temptation around you, but you can resist temptation. I mean, that's kind of, it's a personal request from God to you to resist temptation on your own. And so when it comes to women who are trying to be modest, and in reality, women are not out here, more often than not, especially Christian women are not out here just trying to, you know, let it all hang out and be, probably both do that.
I'm buttoning this up for y'all today. You know that I'm buttoning it up for y'all.
But, you know, we're not out here trying to let it all hang out. We're really just trying to get comfortable in our own skin and are attractive. They just are.
And that's the thing. Because I will tell you this. I'm somebody who has wrestled so much with what to put on. I've skipped church before because I'm just like, I can't. Because I've been shamed in church before. Yeah. Or before I served, I was given a really big sweater to put on. It was like, just in case. And I don't think that people understand what that does to somebody. Like, it's hurtful. And it says that something is wrong when you did nothing wrong.
Right.
Now, there are some people who wear inappropriate things to church. We're not talking about that. If you out here wearing short things, low cut things, backless things, that's a little bit different in terms of just appropriateness for where you are. But it could just be like, hey, Saritha, I don't know that I'm not really comfortable with that. I'm just
gonna get this.
Do it.
You gonna get this. You gonna get all this clavicle. You gonna get this sternum. Oh. You gonna get this rib cage.
Oh.
Y'all ain't ready.
The hip bone is connected to the leg.
It's connected though. It's connected.
People don't realize, like, again, you're assigning shame to somebody who's innocently doing something, and it's like well-intentioned in getting dressed, where people are just like, it makes a person feel bad. And it's not fair, because the definition of modesty really is different from person to person when it's looked at from a sexual side and not a materialism side. I like the way that Paul explains it, because it speaks very specifically about not being ornate. And whenever the conversations that we have about modesty now in Christian circles seem to be, of course, about sexuality. And again, it makes the person feel bad. And that's not right. It assigns the shame of whoever's feeling something to the person who had nothing to do with the fact that somebody feels something.
Exactly.
Or might feel something, and that's really unfair. And I don't think that people realize the damage that they do to people and how they can sour a church experience for someone, especially just because it's like, hey, me as one person is saying, hey, that might not be a good look.
Right. I want to circle back to what I was talking about with attractiveness versus lust. And I think attractive, you just don't have to deal. People out here looking good, it's gonna happen. Women are out here, we're flourishing, we're drinking water, it's amazing.
Edges are growing.
Skincare is
talking to the Lord.
The best. People are improving themselves. Women are looking young forever. Yes, attractiveness is a thing. Lust is a personal problem. Lust is sin. Lust is desiring someone with your own eyes, and that is a sin that is from the person. It is not anything to do with the person you are lusting after. And so when we are calling women to modesty because men can't control themselves, you're actually allowing for their sin and then putting it on women to try not to make other people sin. You cannot do that. It's impossible.
And sometimes attractiveness is not just something that's physical. Sometimes somebody is attracted to the way that you interact with people. They're attracted to the way that you feel about something, the way that you speak about something. So attractiveness is not a quality that's just tied to how you look.
Right.
So then when you try to combat whatever feelings of attraction that you may have by immediately saying, shame on you, and you got to cover up, and oh my gosh, and how dare you make me feel this way, then again, just like Sarita said, not only is it making an allowance for a particular sin, it's also the fact that, like, hey, why is the fact that you're attracted to me
a bad thing?
A bad thing? Because the thing that bothers me is that sometimes people forget, like, hey, we know the Lord too. And when you try to assign that shame, it's like, I'm over here doing the Lord's work.
You know what I'm saying?
And I'm getting hit with this stray bullet. This stray bullet. Now, if you're married, and you feel like you're attracted to somebody, I do think it's your responsibility to immediately, like,
your responsibility to deal with your attraction
or whatever it is that you need to do. But again, it just should not fall on the person. Like, unless they are, like I said, out here wearing, something completely inappropriate for the environment that they're in. And I say that because if you are at the pool,
it is appropriate to wear a swimsuit.
So it's like, if you're in an environment where what you're wearing is completely inappropriate for where you are, then it's like, but even then, if you're in that environment, you can't, if you're in an environment where it's appropriate, then obviously you just have to deal. But if they're wearing something that they should not be wearing in a certain place, you have to guard yourself. It's your responsibility to say, let me remove myself from the situation because I'm feeling things that are not safe for me.
Exactly. And I think I won't even tell people how to talk to someone about modesty because I feel like it is very small amount of people who can talk to someone else about modesty without you offending them. And it really is one of those situations of, do you know them?
Yep.
Like, do you know them?
Yep.
Not like, have you seen them, but do you know them, that you can talk to them specifically and you know how to speak to them, that it's not going to be inappropriate and it's not going to be judgy, and you can just say something like, hey boo.
Yeah, I like that.
What's good? What's the situation? But figuring out how to finagle something. And the thing is, when you have a personal relationship with someone, you can talk about things that are sensitive without it coming off a certain way, versus you within this mindset of, you're making me sin, or you're gonna cause this, that, or the third, or you're inappropriate, rather than loving someone and learning how to speak to someone in love about what's going on. Because the reality is, they may not have anything else to wear. For some women, this is all they got. All they got is what they have. And so you're gonna have to love them through their wardrobe.
And sometimes we don't give people an opportunity in the sense that, how many times have you seen me? And I think that boils down to knowing the person. If I am consistently inappropriate, then it's like, okay. If you see one time and you're like, I'm not sure, I'm a little uncomfortable, I wouldn't do it, that doesn't mean that there's a deficiency with the other person.
Right.
Just because you wouldn't do it. I've seen some people wear some things to church and I'm like, I wouldn't do it, but it doesn't make them wrong.
Right.
And sometimes we have to learn how to separate the two things. But also, we don't have to call people out on their first violation.
You know what I'm saying?
If you feel some kind of way, just, I don't know how I feel about that, but okay. But if you see that person several weeks in a row at church and it's like, these outfits are really a problem,
right?
Not just not my style, but a problem, then I think it will be a little bit different.
Right. And I still think befriending that person first rather than going in first thing you talk about is the way they're dressing, but befriending them and then seeing what's up, because again, some people don't have anything else, and then you can really just be like, hey girl, let's go through my closet, let's see what I have to be able to help you, because there are a lot of people who are uncomfortable, and that's why they're in the back anyway, and that's why they're not talking to someone anyway, and that's you know the reason why they're in this situation. They're coming in, they're getting this word, and they're leaving because they know that they don't feel right. So let's not be those people. Let's not be weird with women. Really, what it is, does not be weird with women, because there's men out here who are shirtless, often wearing these too tight shirts. Their beards are flourishing in a level that we cannot handle. Like they're out here just being perfect and excellent in every way.
Wearing too tight pants.
Y'all know.
If I can see Lincoln's face on that $5 bill inside your pocket outside your jeans. If I know exactly that is a quarter, a dime, and a penny. I mean, it might be a little snug.
Y'all be wearing these V-necks. Y'all be out here working out. I can count your abs through your shirt. That's not fair. That's not fair.
To circle back to the point of correction, though, like, correction is supposed to come from a place of love. And a lot of times when we are the situations that we are familiar with and have experienced when it comes to being corrected, it's not felt like, and it doesn't seem to come from a place of love.
Right.
It seems to come from a place of judgment or a place of fear or a place of insecurity,
but
not love. The thing is, it's never been a situation of, hey, I just want to make sure, I don't want you to be looked at the wrong way.
Right.
In terms of, like, I don't want people to misjudge you. I know that you're an awesome person, and I don't want people to misjudge what you might be about because of the things that they're seeing.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking out for you as a friend because you're dope. Yeah. And I want people to see the dopeness that is on the inside, without being too distracted by the outside.
Yes.
But when it's coming from a place of, like, I don't really care about you, I just care about how it's making me feel. That's not correcting somebody in love. When you hold women responsible for the actions of men, then you are objectifying them. Woo! And there's a lot of objectification of women in the church.
All the day long.
And it's just, as a woman in the church, it is unfair.
Yes.
And again, just like you said before, attraction is fine, but lust is a problem.
It's a personal problem.
It is a personal problem. For women in Christ, again, just
hold your head up, girl. Keep your head up. Put your shoulders back. You're cute. Let them deal with it.
Yes, and don't feel bad about being stylish in church. Don't feel like, oh my gosh, now I got to put on the big sweater because I'm going to service. I know what that feels like, and I'm not about that life. And again, like I said, I've missed church before just from toiling over it. Just be like, I can't do this. I don't have anything that I can wear where I feel like I'll fit in and look like everybody else, so I can't come. My clothes aren't good enough. And you don't want to make sure that you don't want to be pushing somebody to where they could be in a place of missing church and not coming and not being in God's house because of the way that other people make them feel when they're innocently doing something. So guys, we hope that you enjoyed this video and this conversation on modesty.
Yes.
If you are liking it, definitely like it. Yes, and hit the bell, subscribe, get these notifications so as soon as these videos drop, you can just be alerted and your day can be brightened. Who doesn't want that?
We're here.
Yes.
For you.
Exactly.
And if you have any thoughts on modesty, especially ladies, if you have a story, because I know you do. If you have a story, drop it in the comments. Let us commiserate together.
We got you. We are here for you.
Fellas, if you have learned something, drop it in the comments. We want to hear from men who are like, yo, I'm good. Either I'm going to stop wearing them tight pants.
Yeah.
I'm going to put on a real shirt.
I'm telling you, if you can't comfortably bend your knees.
Woo! I just want to know, let's work on this together. Let's make it a group effort. Let's stop putting it all on women. We're tired of that burden. It is not ours to carry.
You don't want it. Keep down.
You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about it in the comments. And until next time,
have a good time.
Bye.
Bye.